FishEZ. Tonight we got some interesting things to see. We've got some new fry, a first for the fish room. We've also got a new fish to add to our breeding collection. We also have some interesting things to look at, just us, I guess, tonight in this special edition. We're going to take a look at why maybe this tank here is brown and this one is not, and yet the pH in those are both the same, 4.6, and why they're so low. And we're going to see what we can do about it. But anyway, welcome everyone. I hope everybody's having a good evening. And looks like Red Laser and Empire of Peplin is here. Yeah, okay. And Jeff, thank you for joining us tonight. I hope that everybody has an opportunity to say hello to everybody, and yet if there's a question or two that you might have, please feel free to mention it. If you're one of the moderators, make sure I see it. We're going to look at some of the things that go on here in this fish nursery breeding room that goes on a daily basis, and that's quite a thing. In fact, earlier today I was doing some shipping, and we shipped out a whole load of fish, discus, rams, plecos, and so I was quite busy, got back a little late. In fact, I just walked in the door a few minutes ago. Fortunately, it doesn't take long for me to grab the phone and get rebooted and ready to go. So hopefully we'll catch up, and hopefully everybody had a good week. And starting in on the weekend, that's probably when you spend more time with your fish on the weekends if you're relaxing. So what are we going to do? First of all, I would like to point out that I have a fish in a bag. On the way home, I was able to pick up on this little guy. This is a replacement. It is a replacement cichlid for a particular fish that died. As you can see here, it is one of the curviceps. I had the male die the other day in one of my pairs, and I don't know exactly precisely why that is, except for the fact that it looked like it was bloated, and so I suspect that there was a problem with bloat, and so maybe I just too rich, feeding it too much goodies. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put it into this tank right here. So there's a female in there. What I'm going to, of course, attempt to do is to acclimatize this fish. Maybe we can do it very, very slowly. The best way I find to acclimatize is not to float the fish, because the pH difference between here and that tank is quite a difference. So what we're going to do is we're going to use one of the hang on the back breeder boxes, and we're going to drip. So let's do that. I'm going to set the fish down here for now. Let's open her up and grab a breeder box like this one. This one's fine. Hopefully you can see that. I always have an extra lift tube, an airline coming from somewhere, and I usually use it in this whole area for when I'm transitioning fish. So let's see. I'm going to stick it in, and it doesn't seem to have any air going right now. So the first thing is I want to use all of the water that is in the bag. And since I won't have to quarantine this fish because I'm putting him into a tank that will be quarantined, I'm going to actually do this now. Put the fish okay, I don't seem to have a very good fingernail for that particular rubber band, so I'm just going to snip it. I'm going to use my scissors. I have little scissors on my pocket knife. It's a Swiss Army knife. It was a gift from my parents when they went to Switzerland. Okay, so now the fish itself, hopefully I can get it into here without letting it jump out. And that's the key. So I'm going to hold it down, flip it, and begin to pour. There we go. So 100% of the water in this bag is actually 1/2, and it's freaking out a little bit. So I don't want to freak it out. So I'm going to just step away. I'm going to get a lid because fish have a tendency to jump when they're freaked out. You know how that is. And I'm just going to take a lid and put it on there and then adjust the drip. And we'll let it drip for some time. There we go. The only hole it could jump out is right into the tank. So at least it won't be on the floor. So I'm going to adjust the air now. Here we go. And what I'm interested in is pushing the air up. It just drips. There we go. A slow drip. Drip, drip, drip. And we'll let that drip for the evening. We're going to see. Let's take a look at the pH. I have my pH meter here. I'll tell you what it is. I'm going to turn it on. We'll measure. I have it in this tank currently, just to show you the difference. We're going to look at the tank first. The tank is dropping, dropping, dropping. It's 5.0, now 4.9, 4.8, 4.7. Yeah, so pH, it's very acidic. We did that with Super Pete a few weeks back, if you recall. A number of weeks back, we're trying to lower the pH. And we're down to 4.7. 4.6 is still dropping. So this is definitely in the range of 4.5 or so. Now let's take a look at what it is from the store. I'm going to stick it in there. And it's 6.1, 6.2. It's going up, up, and up. This should be more like tap water. 6.7, 6.8. Turns out it's a beautiful looking little fish. And I never had success, these guys breeding in here, and I have an inkling. It's a funny inkling, but for some reason my male or supposed male was never as long finned as the one I got right now. This one I just purchased. The one I had is going 7.2. So we're going up. It's above 7. The tap water there is above 7, and so what we want to do is we want to see it get equal. So I'm just going to leave that hanging in the tank water. But obviously it's got to jump from 7.2 down to 4.5. So I'll just let it drip like that. It's just a slow drip. So what we're going to do is when we drip like that, we're going to get 50% of the volume will be tank water and 50% will be store water. And so that will adjust, but then it will be a mixture in between. When it gets full, it still will not be totally. So it'll have to drip and overflow, and constantly change out to get it down below to where the tank pH is. So we'll just leave it like that. And I think that's the way to go. It's an easy way. I don't know if you can see it up there. Right here is, we'll take a good look before we conclude. So Looks like we have a lot of you joining us tonight. Thank you very much, Fish Fam Link, and all you members of the FishEZ family. Thank you for your thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, it tends to help the algorithm and help people know that we're live tonight and we are talking fish. Fish room, in fact. Next on the agenda, after we start that going, and we're just going to let it go, we picked up some interesting eggs for tonight. We're going to process those eggs, but first of all, let's tend to the fry in our fish room. Edward Aquatics. Master Aquatics, just call me Edward. Welcome. No, the pH of 4.5 does not make my hands feel weird. I do not put it in. It's acidic, but that is the word we use chemically to prove that the number of hydrogen atoms versus positive or negative number of extra hydrogen atoms versus less hydrogen atoms in the water can make it acidic or alkaline. But that doesn't mean that it's acid. And so if you put your hands in sulfuric acid, well, yeah, you're going to feel it. But in the realm of fish, and we're only going from the lowest we can go is around 4, right? And the highest, you may have seen it up to alkaline level, pH 8. But that range is just, natural water as it processes different, for example, decaying leaves will cause water to drop in pH and be acidic. The hard stone or limestone or coral or some of those minerals can cause water to be more alkaline. And so that's the case. So within that realm or range, basically it's okay for fish to swim in, so it's not going to be affecting my hands. It's a good, very good question. You may think, oh, I'm acidic, but it's so light acidic that it's hardly an amount that is going to cause any damage. For example, if you take just take water, maybe pure water, just 7.0, which means it's neither acidic or alkaline, it is neutral. 7.0 is neutral. So let's say you took some pure water, 7.0, and then you added carbonation. Well, it becomes acidic. And I remember years ago, people saying if you drink soda, your teeth are going to be, just kind of dissolve because the enamel is going, but I think what it is people in sugar and other things on your teeth can cause issues with enamel erosion more than just whether or not the water's slightly acidic or not. And carbonation causes the water to be slightly acidic. The carbonic acid actually is what causes that. So I'm sure there's some professionals out there, and I've always come across various ones who've made their comments in the comment section and corrected me here and there in the way I word things or whatnot. But I tend to think simplistic because the majority of people on this YouTube format, or this is not a chemistry. This is definitely not chemistry 101. This is fish keeping 101. So this is how I think, in terms of, yes, acidic, but not acid. That's how I think of it as. It's on the acidic side of the pendulum. We reign in the range. So that's something to think about. Maybe that helps you in your understanding of what we're doing here. But fish are sensitive, and they will, if you drop them from, say, a pH of 8 and drop them into a tank of pH of 4, the change is so shocking For them, they would immediately feel it, and it could put them into shock, and they would die from the stress. So you even, yeah, 3.5. It depends on the fish. Definitely depends on the fish. The reason I say that is because some fish, they just cannot handle swings in pH. So it depends on what fish you're talking about. Oh, before we get into the fry right now, we have a new spawn, and it's here in the fish room, and I'm very happy, and I'm going to show it to you. And they're close to the front glass right now. So let me go, let's take a quick look. These fish, the mom and dad have been sporting these fry, taking them out and about for their, let's take a look here. Okay, they see the phone, they see the camera, and they're getting nervous, twitching away. But there's the babies right there. Gorgeous fish, really. I mean, there's not a lot in this batch, but it's their first batch, so I'm not at all surprised. The babies, when they feel threatened or when they see a camera or something like this, you know what they do? They go straight to the bottom and they sit on the bottom. Go with the flow. Jeff, Elfish. So these fish are obviously from what many people know as crebensis, but these are pelvichromis. Now think about it. Your pelvic area of the female gets pink, or in this case, sometimes she gets very bluish, pink and blue. This is a species. They're calling them over. Look, see the way they get away, and the babies are on their way. They're headed over there to mom and dad. They're saying, "Come on, come on, get over here, get away from that, danger, danger," but they won't move. You see, but mom and dad are moved away, and they are calling them over. That's their behavior. So they were at the front glass maybe looking for some food, but now they're, yeah, these are pelvichromis, and the genus is Subocellatus. Subocellatus. They used to be crebensis. I think they used to be. I can't keep up on all the changes. Okay, yeah, I love the colors on the mom and dad, and you can tell the way they're acting. They're really doing good. But I think the regular crebensis that we're accustomed to, the I forget the name that they have, the ones that are very common that everybody's had, they're even a little more colorful, in my opinion. I mean, I love the spots on them, and they've been bred in captivity or in tank raised. Crebensis have been like around for so long that they're just amazingly, and they're beautiful. Oh, the babies moved. I didn't hardly see them. There's just one left. See how they follow mom and dad? They always stay right under mom and dad. Yeah, so this is the new babies of the room, and the Subocellatus. I do have 3 pair in the fish room and an extra female. So one pair wasn't doing so hot, and the extra female was here, so I just moved the male into the community tank, and there he is right there. He's in the bush, right underneath in the rocks. There's a male in there. I'm waiting for him to kind of like pair up with the female. Here's the female over on the left. She's right here. And she's put on her colors a few times. Right now she's kind of bland. But I mean, seriously, she got her blue out. They get blue and pink, and it looks like a big eye spot when they show off their bellies. It's an interesting little cichlid. Certainly worth having, even in a community tank. mildly peaceful. No different than the rams you see here. I got some rams. You see there's a male and a female German blue ram, and I'm waiting for them to get really excited and go down on eggs too. So yeah, I have, and I also have in here, I think pistil wise, I think all the pistos, there's just one extra male of the Epistogramma panderinis in this tank because all of my pairs have now been matched. That's a beautiful, beautiful male. And of course, these photo bombers are our, these are our tiger, not tiger barbs, these are our black ruby barbs. They are such a photo bomber. They stay to the front of the tank, begging, begging, begging. They're such pets, I tell you. If you're interested in a fish that's interactive, I would go with this particular striped barb because they're a lot more peaceful, a lot more nicer than the tiger barb is. That is behavioral wise. There's our male subocellatus right there. I don't know if you can see him. He's moving through the plants. He's right over that white pot right now. See if he, oh, he's going over to the rocks. There he goes. He didn't let me get too close. He's got some settling down to do, but once he's settled down, he's going to take off. So not much else to show in here except I just wanted to show you something. Maybe Roman, if you're online, I don't know. I haven't seen you join us tonight yet, but look at that plant. This is one of my most recent acquisitions. It is flowering. Someone, probably the barbs, maybe the ruby barbs, made a lunch out of the flower, so it's just a stem now. But the other two flowers are blooming, they're budding, and they're going to be blooming in the next day or so. And a beautiful white little flower, and somebody's going to probably munch on it. Just too many mouths in this tank, but it's so nice. This is for as far as the name of this plant. Oh, I should write it on the tank so I remember, but it's, we talked about it last week, I think, if anybody remembers. It was the Bucephalandra apple leaf, I think. Apple leaf. Thank you, Red Laser, you do remember. Yeah, I got that at our club, so it's always good to be a part of a club. And at our club meeting, we had a meeting on plants, and our speaker brought with him several very nice looking plants, and we auctioned them off at the end of the program, and I was able to snag that one, and I'm very happy with it. Very happy with it. Our other plants are starting to take off. That's some val in the pot there, and it's supposed to be a val that doesn't grow too tall. It's not the jungle val, so I'm happy with it because so far it's about the height that I really want to see. I'd like to plant it all along the middle of this and kind of make a divider. Yeah, okay, so going on, I do have some news, and if everybody's interested in always what we're breeding, of course, let's look at the workbench. On tank number 1, our hexazonas are doing awesome. They're really coming up nice. I'm so happy that I didn't have like only 2 or 3 of these guys. I'm happy that I have more like, I don't know what's here, 20, 30. How many is it? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So yeah, it looks like 40. Looks like we got about 40 in there. I think it's really nice. I just removed all of the plecos, and I'll tell you why. Some of the short-finned ones were moved over to the grow-out house, and then our long-finned ones were moved down here to this tank. They're okay. They're doing all right. it was a chance to separate them so I know how many I have. I think I have 68 long-fin bushy nose growing out, both albino and regular. But the long-fin bushy nose, they're a little more, shall we say, delicate. If you want a fish that eats the algae off the walls and it's hardy and it's not going to die, I would definitely get the bushy nose, but I would definitely get the short fin because they're workhorses. But in the case of these long fins, they're just so beautiful. Look at the albinos. Albinos, their fins are just so long and beautiful. You have to be careful. They're delicate, so you can actually, if not careful, if you're handling them, you can actually pull off their tail and it would be a long grow back time. They do grow. If they lose some of their tail, they will grow some of it. They're eating zucchini. I use these stainless steel rods. I just stick it through the zucchini and drop it in. I don't blanch the zucchini because the rod will hold it down. Now, if you want to get some of these rods, all you have to do is go onto Amazon and look for axles. These are stainless steel axles for like, you know, those like a wooden car where people carve out the car and they put the axle on the wheels. It's like a toy car for a kid, and that's what they are. They're for actually the axle part, and they're pretty strong. I haven't tried to bend one, but they're not easily bent, that's for sure. But I think it was Tom at TM Aquatics who told me about this, and I think it was him. Credit goes to the master, of course, and thank you, Tom. That is a great idea, and it works tremendously. I have a whole bunch of them because it can get them very cheap from China. Just took a while. There we go. Pinewood Derby cars. Outside in Aquatics, you know exactly what I'm trying to describe. I just couldn't think of a name, the appropriate name for them. Yeah, and remember in school we would race them. You have to build them and then you race them. Here's our long-finned rosies, and the tank is quite full. They're doing very well. It's time to be moving them on. So actually, I'm just waiting for a time when I can do them. As you can see here, there's a couple hundred in here. They need to get into a bigger tank now, and I need to use this tank for breeding. And here's the big news. I was successful earlier this week putting together, I had an empty tank, so I went ahead and threw green tiger barbs. Everybody's always looking for the green tiger barbs. And these green tiger barbs, as you can see, they're only a few days old. They're only a few days free swimming, but there's a bunch, and it looks like a good group. And that's what I like. I like putting the pairs together and having a pair successfully spawn. And when I see a large group that has, wow, that's worth it. When I see only 5 or 6 fry, then it's hardly worth it. In fact, that's what happened with the Odessas in here before. I think I took out the Odessas. There were only about 10 or 12. And I just put them in another tank to grow out with some other tiger barbs because there was no sense in dedicating a tank just for the Odessas on that batch, because I know I can get hundreds and hundreds from one pair of Odessas if the timing is right, if the fish are in condition. But look at this when I see at this age this many fry swimming about, this is good news to me. So I've already started them on brine shrimp now, and it's been a couple of days. First, we gave them paramecia and also some powdered foods just to have in the tank, because tiger barbs, when they first start swimming, they hug the walls, as you can see that. You see how they hug the walls, and they're just along the bottom. There's one. Let's see if you can see it. The one at the bottom here. No. Might have went below the grill, and they're just focused on picking up any food they could find along the walls. Here they are along the walls on the side. They don't seem to, they prefer the walls over open water. That's one of the differences. Now, in the case of, for example, Odessas, they like the open water and they will be eating out of the water. You don't see them hugging the walls like this. I can tell the difference between fry, in a tiger barb, and an Odessa barb at this size merely for their way they act. And of course, also a little indicator is that a tiger barb is a little longer. They look like a little more elongated. It's hard to tell on a camera, but by the naked eye, you can look at it and compare them. If I had a tank side by side, you know, one with tiger barbs and one with Odessas, you could see the difference easily. There's just something about their shape at this side. They're very long when the tiger barbs, but at a certain age, tiger barbs will begin to change shape. And that's when they get their real tiger barb, less torpedo look, more of a angelfish kind of look. You know what I mean? They start growing vertically rather than horizontally. Even though right now at this age they're longer horizontally than other barbs of the same age. These fish, for example, continue to grow horizontally. They never get that. These have stripes, but they're not tiger barbs, as you can see. They just don't have that tiger barb look. And over here, there was something interesting. I do have a couple of odds and ends. Once in a while, I get tired of trying to raise maybe 2 or 3 fish when a batch is very small. Right here in the front, you see this dark fish right here? Right here, you see it there? I'm trying to focus. That is not like the rest. It's a CPD. There's a few CPDs, so I just put them in with the tank because they'll grow out, and then we'll catch them when they get older, and we'll see, oh, that's a CPD, and then net them out. It's easier that way than trying to dedicate a tank for just 2 or 3 fish. I don't like doing that. So that's the news of our, right here on our workbench. Tank number 2 is now since May 26th. So what is today, the 31st? So these are 5 days old. Well, 5 days, yeah, 5 days probably from either the time the eggs were laid or hatched. You know, I don't show this tank too often because I have to bend down to do it, but it's got a beautiful pair of electric blue rams. It's got tetras, and these are the CPD breeders. Just to give you an idea. Yeah, there we go. See if we can show you some of the fish in this tank. It's got 2 egg traps. One here on the left, which has been very successful. Now that female ram, as I look at her, it looks like she's going to be ready to go down an egg soon. I better put a plate in there and kind of watch for it, so that if they lay, I can grab the eggs. There's a male in here too. There he is. Yeah, is that black knitting mesh? No, it's not actually. Are you talking about these right here? This black netting? This, as most of you know who are regular channel members or subscribers, know this to be something I find is fiberglass. It's a fiberglass mesh that you buy on Amazon for your barbecue. It is a netting that is not metal, so it's non-metallic, and you can cut it with scissors. It also has a quite stiffness to it, which is perfect for this application. So I cut it a little bigger than the bottom of your tank, both directions, and as you can see, it curls up on the sides. That prevents the panicky female or the male from running underneath there, getting underneath. So it's kind of taut, or shall we say, it's a little loose. It's not loose, it's taut, and it's against the glass, and it's for barbecues. You put your steak on it or your meat, and it's for cooking evenly. I don't know how it works exactly, but it's you buy it in sheets. I have, in fact, down here I have some sheets. Let's see, I'll pull this out for you since you asked. See if I can pull this out. Yeah, here we go. This is the barbecue. It comes in a packet like this. There we go. There it is. So I keep this in the fish room. It's a tremendous tool. I use it in a lot of places. Like even right here, I cut a piece to create a division between. This is what's producing the CPDs. Our little egg trap on the right and the left. And this is the stuff right here. It comes in sheets of this size. Let me see. There's actually, let me see what this says. Yeah, it's called Non-Stick Grill Mesh. Heavy Duty Barbecue Grilling Accessory. Green Mountain. Made in China. Of course, it always is. But just to give you an idea of the CPDs that we've produced here in the fish room, over the past few months, we're doing quite well. These are all CPDs in here. And then here we have an earlier couple CPDs, a couple Danios, and a couple of these rainbow. These are Precox rainbows. They're all growing up together. Over here in this tank, looks like CPDs, and those are Chopre Danios. Yeah, we've all raised through that egg trap. So let's get to business. This is important stuff. This is a tubby where the actual angelfish from JB2, these are black marble angelfish. These fish are actually free swimming now. I have fed them in the tubby once or twice, and now it's time to get them out because we can't leave them in there. If we left them in there, the water change system here is a little more difficult. Of course, like up here, these are platinum angels, and with the cycling of the water coming in and going out into a bigger tank, we have black angels that are in the tank. Actually, you see a couple of them back there. There's a good number of them in the tank because there's a small batch. They're all like, I just put them in the tank. But the water here is being flushed all the time, but they're not here. So you can have bad water. Now, for example, right here, these guys are not free swimming yet. And these are what appears to be CJA4. These are koi angels. And so the koi angels, these are not being fed yet. These up here have been free swimming. And there's a huge batch in this little jar. And right now it's time to get them out as well because it's way too small. But I just do it to hatch and to save space. This over here we're also going to take a quick look at. I want to show you how I'm going to change the water in this gallon jar. This is a gallon jar. It's like a gallon jar vase. And these, believe it or not, are electric blue rams. So we've got a good batch of electric blue rams. I'm very happy about it because every one of them is doing great, but it's really important to stay on top of it because if you're not careful, paramecia, if you feed them paramecia, there could be an opportunity for the paramecia to overpopulate and kill off everything in there because they just overpopulate and then crash. So when you see paramecia building up and the water starts to look a little white or milky, then it's time to just start changing the water. And I'm going to show you how to change the water here without sucking up any of these fish. And we may as well do that. I'm going to show you a very simple way of doing it using an apparatus that we have in the fish room. Let's see, I'm going to set the phone here, the camera here. Let me zoom in a little bit. I guess I can zoom in. Okay, there we go. Now, I gotta somehow get myself out of, so you can watch without me getting in the way. So what I'm going to use is a device that you've seen around, believe it or not. It is a ring like this. This is the ring device that you use. It floats in your tank, and you can put a few fry in there, and it has a lift tube on the right, and air goes in, and of course this goes like this, and water goes in, and then it goes out the side here and back into the tank. It overflows, right? So that's the whole concept of the ring. It really works well, but what's really caught my attention was the super fine bottom. So I'm just going to remove that. And super fine bottom, meaning this bottom will actually not let any fry through. It won't even let baby brain shrimp through. It's very small. And I'm going to remove the water without removing the fry by simply putting this. It's got a lip, so I hope you can see. It's got this little lip around it. That's important because I'm going to be able to put it against the glass, and it will keep it away from the glass far enough so that no babies get smashed. So I'm just going to put it in and start lowering it. And there you go. It fills up with water because the bottom is just mesh. And then I take a tube, and this is a little tricky, but let me show you how I do that. With my hand being held here, I will put one end into the bottom near the middle, say right here, and now there is a separation. I'm going to start the siphon. I don't have to worry about any fry getting in. So as long as my lip, my edge of the ring is above the water line, no water or no babies are going to like flow into there. And because of the volume, the vast amount of water, there's no strong suction at any one place where fry will be sucked up in and being held against the suction point. So I'm just lowering the water line. And just kind of moving the air stone over. Okay, I just keep doing that. Here's a baby right here, but it can't get to the tube because it would need to get inside, and that's not going to happen. I'm going to lower it to this mark that I have right here. Unfortunately, this method doesn't allow for picking up the detritus and the things, dead baby brine shrimp at the bottom. But I'm definitely changing the water to fresh water. And from time to time, when I see a moment where the fry are all on one side, I will often use this this is called hard tubing, air tubing. So I have this, it goes all the way to the bottom, and I can suck it out. But in this case, because I could suck up some fry, just in case, what I would do is suck it up and drain it into a tubby plastic dish. And then when I'm done, I take a good look at the plastic dish to make sure I didn't suck up any fry. And I might even use a flashlight. I often use my flashlight underneath, kind of like a light table, to make sure I don't get anything. Now, how do I pour the water back in? I have a hose here going over to, and let me show you that. We're going to take the fry, let's see. Yeah, going back in the big picture, now you can see what's happening here. Come on, something wrong with my zoom. How can I zoom out? I'm not sure why. Let me see, come on. There, no. Yeah, I guess I'm zoomed out, no? No, I'm not zoomed out all the way. Keep zooming back in. What am I doing wrong? Okay, there we go. There's the whole fish room. If I can not touch something, maybe it would be work. Okay, so as you can see, now we're going to put the water back. So the way we're going to do it is there's a bottle here I hang, and it's got a pop bottle to airline tubing connector. And I have a bunch of these, by the way. I am selling those online and making them part of my my kit for brine shrimp hatchery, do-it-yourself type. So making some of these available. So here you have the line. It goes over and it just goes all the way over, and you see it kind of loops in, and there's the output of my water. So the water level right now is here. We're going to just raise it up. I have some marks there if I put in 1 liter. So I'm going to just pour in. This is water that's been aerated for hours, and so there's no chlorine in it. And I'm just going to fill my 1 liter container. Okay, and that's it. So here in the tank, you see water is coming in. Yeah. So the fish, it's not so strong that it just jostles them and knocks them out. But now the water level is rising. It'll rise up to one liter, and I'll probably put in 2 liters. Another liter, so we'll do a full 2 liters. And that's how they do the water change. So I wanted to do that water change on these fish. Let's take a good closer look. Whoa, oh, sorry about that. I tripped over the eggs down below. We'll take a look at those next. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so here you have the water coming in. It's just coming in, it's circulating, and it swirls quite a bit, but I see that the fish are not overwhelmed by it. They're doing very well. And the temperature of the water is the same as the temperature in here, basically, because both are sitting in the room. If anything, the higher level in the room, maybe up here at high, this water that's been sitting here that I'm using is actually probably a little bit warmer. It's okay to put a little bit warmer water. It's cold water. You can shock your fish. A little slightly warmer water coming back in is never a bad thing. It seems to be okay. So here they are. You can see doing quite well. They're swimming strong. This is going to be a good batch. We really need that. Yeah, electric blue rams. And then I'm going to now also mention that we were looking here. This is the water. These are my paramecia cultures. So looks like the 30th I did some yesterday. I set them up, and here's one I'm using currently that was used on the tiger barbs. Okay, next, let's keep going. So we're going to now, we got to get those out, and we got to get these ones out, right? The jar full of the double batch. So I have a big box here. This is the largest one of the large size. I say largest of the large size because there's 2 sizes. This is the Chinese made, and it is a little bigger than the smaller one. This is the smaller one. It's not the Chinese one comes out to about like that. So it's got a little bit more volume, but it sticks out a little bit more. This is a little more narrow, and they're about the same in width. This one was by Marina, and then Marina was sold out or sold their business to, let's see, it's the Senior Moment. Come on, guys. Who bought the Marina line? Oh, thank you very much. $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Let's see. Question. Finally caught you live. Of course, yeah. What KH and pH do you use for breeding Hexazona barbs? I can answer that very easy. Well, almost easily. Let's see. What I do here, show you to answer your super chat. Thank you so much. Here are the parameters. This is Deso. Anyway, D-Hexazona. I had the smaller size breeders, 2 males and 3 females. We put it in here, and the water was 79 degrees. The ppms, I used RO water and brought it down to 30 ppm. The microsiemens was 0.05, and the pH was 6.6. So the pH was below 7, and I did not do anything special. With these barbs, they're pretty easy to do. You can breed these pretty easy. You have to separate the males from the females and fatten them up, as it were, and when you put them together, they do wonderful. Take a look. These are the males, and one of them's got a little bump on his lip. Looks like he ran into the glass or something. I don't know. But yeah, the males are here, and the females are down below with the female barbs. Let me see. There's one right there. Well, there's some. It's kind of hard. You have to really look. There's some snakeskin barbs in here too, and the female snakeskin barbs are similar. But the one that's Hexazona is this one right there. Okay. So I separate them when they're both haven't seen each other for a long time. They grow a fondness. Oh, let's see. 4.6 in the tank. This is our new fish. It's getting dripped. And as you can see, the dripping hasn't even gotten to the top yet. So it's just a slow drip. I might leave that for a while and let it slow drip. And it's going to have to, he'll be in there for a few hours. But I noticed, look at him. He's already excited about the female on the inside. I don't know if you can see that, but the female is coming up and looking at him, and he's looking at her. Okay. So we still got a ways to go for that guy. Maybe a couple hours before I can put him in there. I'm not sure. So I hope that answers your question. If you have any more questions, let me know. Thank you so much for that super chat. And creating my favorite fish channel. Thank you so much. Those are kind words. If you find this information useful, you know the best way to help it grow, of course, is to let others know. And sometimes it's just when you're on other channels and you say, oh, you know, I was at FishEZ channel and we were doing live streaming or videos. That all helps. That's the best. Word of mouth is the best way to go. So here we go. How am I going to get those small fry into these breeder boxes? I have 2 breeder boxes and two of them to move. So I'm going to have to move them. One group in here, and the other group, I have an empty box here. We could do that. But for now, just for demonstration purposes, we'll do one. The way I do it is very carefully, of course. And I say that because it isn't always so obvious, okay? how to pour fish out of a little jar that you can only maybe turn maybe so much. My lid is here. My lift tube is all here. Everything is here, I think. Sitting on the, okay, there's that one. This one, we're going to take this one. This will be the one. And we'll start this one from this tank, okay? There we go. It's already turned on. I guess it's been from the last time I had it. So there it is, starting to fill up. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to take these fish and these guys are really ready. Let me see if I can show you. Maybe you can get a better drift of what I'm talking about is how many fish are in this thing. There's a lot of angels there. It's from 2 different spawns, but I'll be easily able to tell them apart, you see, because one spawn is from a black pair and the other spawn is from a platinum pair. So the truth is, it will be easy when they grow to see the difference between them. Hopefully they'll do well. So I'm just waiting right now for the water to completely fill the bottom. Probably that's good enough. Then what I do is I pour some of it. And unfortunately, if I were to just pour it all in straight, I'll be left back in the jar a bunch of babies that are going to be flopping out of water because they didn't go. So I take a turkey baster and then I kind of get the corner and the rest, the major stuff. Now this one I haven't cleaned out the fungused eggs, and there's still like a fungusy egg, but the reason for that is because the fungusy eggs hold a lot of the babies before they're free swimming because of their sticky spot on their head, and that's what the parents use to stick them in different places, right? So now I'm just gonna try to get some more, but not all of it. I don't want them to be at the bottom. So then I hold the container at an angle and I start to take out water slowly so they don't get sucked up on the sides. It's very hard with this one because there's so many. A lot of them are, and I'm just gonna catch them slowly. I don't try to do it too fast, because if you do it too fast, you're gonna end up with all the babies just on the side of the glass and no water. Yeah. Just make sure, as I'm doing this, the water is getting smaller and smaller. They're getting more concentrated. Actually, as you can see, I don't know if you can see me. Take a look here. I'm at the bottom. I'm at the bottom of what's left. And let's see if you can discern that there's hardly, it's hardly any in there. 4 or 5. There's only about 4 or 5 babies left. This will continue to fill, so it's giving them a water change. Now I can just get the last ones. Last 1 or 2, and not a single one is left in the jar. All right, the baster is one of the basic tools of a fish room, but I do have different basters because I found that this brand, which I don't know which brand it is, Betty Crocker or something, I don't know, and this brand from the dollar store are different, and they're not all made the same. And one of the reasons that makes them different, I don't know how. They look the same, but they're thicker in the plastic maybe, but the red one I use It holds, it's a stiffer, stronger bulb, but it also, when I suck up something, it doesn't just drip out. This one is definitely, you suck it up and it just starts pouring out. There's something about the design. I don't know, maybe it's the width. It could be the width there. It might not be, I don't know. But not all basters are the same. This one is my favorite. I use it for the red one for all the feeding the baby brine shrimp. But this one I use for this application when I'm taking fry out, and because I feel, I don't know, somehow this one just seems better for when I'm transferring fry, and I don't really care so much. I'm in a close proximity. I don't care about dripping. Now, there's one more baster, since we're talking basters, and that's the one that sits here in the paramecia. This one is the paramecia jar. Is a non-drip. You can get these things. They have what they have is a one-way. Interesting. They have a little tip on it that closes. So when you squeeze up and suck, it opens up the flap. Excuse me. But then I didn't get my water tonight. I forgot. And so then the flap will close, and it's called non-drip basters. I don't use these at all for transferring fish because I'm afraid the flap could very easily get caught, the fish, the small fry. So I would not use this one for that application, but for this smelly paramecia solution, I don't want to get all over. That's the perfect application for that. So each one has its own application. Hope that was helpful. And let's see, any questions I've got. Yeah, some definitely don't suck as well as others. And I think it's probably back to, you get what you pay for. And if you go to the cheapies at the dollar store, you're going to get that issue. So thank you so much. What is, I don't even know how to say that. OS3ROR0O. Your name has been, I don't know exactly how to put it. You've been with us for a long, long time. I just haven't learned your name. How do you say that? Zero. It's like zero. 0, 0, 0. Well, thank you for joining the memberships, and I will be, of course, I'm always trying to put out more videos and things. I took some videos earlier. I will try to point out one I took earlier today. Maybe I'll put that out there for you guys to see. We were just showing some of the koi angels we got. Oh, really? Okay. Get Zen Ginger to schedule your permit slot on FishFam Link. I thought I put myself on FishFam Link. That was, I went to FishFam Link, and Fridays at 8 o'clock. I should be on there. Okay. We're doing quite well. Let's see. We're getting close to the end here, but thank you for bearing up with us. And if there's any questions I missed, please let me know, moderators, or repeat it if you didn't get an answer. Thank you for the membership, and I really do appreciate it. It's good to be part of a little group of friends that can appreciate a little more intricacies and details in a fish room, especially when dealing with breeding fish. And that's what we do here in this fish room. It is designed for people who enjoy the hobby of breeding fish. And of course, we've got suggestions and ideas. We prove things be valid or not, some suggestions. And I've tried different things. Some things work, some things don't. One of the things that we're going to be working on are the snakeskin barbs. I really would like to know what we can do to make those snakeskin barbs breed. They're a little more trickier, and I think one of you asked about the hexazonas, getting them to breed. Well, I would start with them. As I told people before, start off the easy with easier fish and get your experience level up. And once you're able to say, I can raise tiger barbs, I can raise hexazonas, then graduate yourself to something a little more challenging. And that's what you'll find in the fish keeping hobby, that there's always something more challenging. Then there's always the sidekick of, well, you know, I want to play around with genetics. There's some fish, I mean, it could be guppies, it could be a lot of fish that are easily manipulated, and you can get colors and strains and different aspects going in your fish. And so you want to build something or do something a little nicer with the fish that's already out there, but you want to improve upon it, or maybe just do something you want to do. You're not doing anything. Oh, the Zen Ginger. There we go. There's the Zen Ginger. If I'm not doing anything to encourage it, and they're basically just passively breeding, you know, I'm going to tell you all a story you probably haven't heard. And last week I was at the GTA Aquarium Club, and it was very kind of them to invite me to speak. And so I spoke to them about a subject, and we had a nice little time. There was a good little group. And so just reflecting on my past, when I started with fish, I was just like 9 years old, I think. I was about 8 or 9, probably 9 or 10, I'm guessing. And my family got an aquarium. Maybe, I don't even know what size it was. It was a 10-gallon or a 5-gallon. They put it on the bookshelf, and they had it there. And my dad, you know, did things to make it strong and hold it up and everything, because he's like a carpenter, right? So there was this community aquarium, and I was the one of all the kids that was fascinated by it. I was like looking at it, and I just loved the fish. They were amazing. I loved animals, you see, and so that's probably what caught my attention, and maybe that's what my parents did to me. And so I'm looking at this tank, and suddenly I noticed, nobody else would have noticed, but I noticed that the silver tip tetras were spawning. And I was watching this behavior, and I was saying, what are they doing? And they were coming together, and they were doing their thing, and then eggs were flying everywhere. And I realized what was happening is that they were spawning in the tank. And it was so exciting, you know. To me, it was like, wow, you know, the fish are spawning, and how do I save the babies, and what do I do? And so, well, one thing led to the next. I didn't realize at the time that I had MTS, because MTS didn't exist then. At least nobody referred to multiple tank syndrome as a syndrome. In other words, I think we all just thought each other as this is normal. You know, if you get one tank, you got to get two, and then 2 turns into 4, and then 4 into 8, right? So before long, I was in my little bedroom, and I had convicts breeding, and I had African cichlids and Mozambique mouth brooders, and they were putting out babies. And then I was having, what am I going to do with the babies, and another tank, and that's the story. That's how it all started. And honestly, you asked the question about passively breeding, and that's awesome. You know, that's just wonderful, because when you see something happening like that, and even in some of our tanks, like my community tank here, it's very likely that there's breeding going on. And one of the nice things is finding a species that that can survive and do well. For example, it didn't turn out, and I don't know how it happened. There are some fish in this tank, this community tank below me, and we'll take a look at it again, just so you see what we're talking about. These fish in this community tank, some of them are egg scatterers, and if they do spawn, well, they do spawn. But somehow little guys like this guy just pop up, and I think that's an escapee from the breeder box. They don't do as well, they stay small. The ones in the breeder box are gigantic compared to this one. It's the only explanation I have. But if you're watching these rocks, there's going to be a little catfish that pops out once in a while. There he is. See him in there? There he is. I told you, you see him. And for the life of me, I have yet to understand how on earth that catfish has got in here. I still have no clue. No clue. Absolutely no clue. I don't remember there ever being catfish on the side. There are some right now, so maybe more will start to appear. I don't know. We do have some Lucy's right here, but I don't think any of these have escaped. I haven't seen any of this size. They're doing very well. So here's the bucket I keep kicking. I don't know. This came from the fish house today, so I brought it over because I was there doing the shipping, and then of course it's time to unpack. So what we got is 2 sets of angelfish eggs. So we're gonna have to hatch these guys out. These are going to be, we'll put them up here for now, and once they hatch, right now the water, once they hatch, I'm going to put 1 drop of methylene blue and an air stone, and they'll hatch. And then once they hatch, I'll put them in maybe a jar until they're free swimming. This is the black marble pair, so they laid again maybe today. This is our most productive pair. Seriously, we've got, I think we're on batch number 8 or 9 from this year. So there's the eggs. See the eggs? Another huge batch, marble angelfish, and we're able to move all of the ones we can. Oh, look, it's filling up. So these fish are now getting quality care, and I'll keep them in here only until now. Of course, if I don't do anything right now, these guys are going to go right in there and get eaten. So I need to put a, I'm glad I thought of it. You always wet it first. Water will not go through that if you don't wet it. Squeeze water into it. And as it trickles out, the weir, I can't use the plastic weirs because the babies will go right through it. But I use this hacked off end of a lift or intake tube. And there he is. Put it in right there. And it's just the perfect size. And this will allow water to go through and the babies won't. So now I can leave that alone in peace and not fret about it. And we'll put the marks on here. Same marks. This is from the jar. So this was this is JB5 and JB6, the second batch from both pairs. JB5 and 6. Here's JB2, the marble pair. This was the previous batch, and we're now putting them into a breeder box, and we've got eggs today. So they're laying about every 10 days. And that pair is very productive. So we're doing quite well. Well, it's time. It's 9:30. It's time to go over to our show over at the checkout. Let's see. Robert Lucas, the Zen Ginger. The Odessas I got from Michael are already breeding for me. I'm happy. So it says I say it counts. The Synodontists are vacuuming up most of the eggs, though, but there are a few survivors. No Pictus. Those are Synodontis lucipinis, and we're going to check for eggs tonight as well. So I'm going to sign off, and maybe I'll shoot a video or something just for the members. Okay. Yeah. So MTS, yes, multiple tank syndrome. Mrs. MTS. Yeah, and our beautiful mascara barbs are just doing well. I don't really have a good way of cleaning this algae off the acrylic tank without scratching the tank, so I'm holding off on doing anything with air, but they're growing so nicely. So let's go over see LRB's mascara barbs. He put out a video earlier this week, and also Shady Grady, I saw your video you put out earlier this week. So you're looking for 100 subscribers. If anybody wants to join, don't forget about Shady Grady. If you're not a subscriber, maybe check out his channel if you want to see some more interesting stuff. And thank you all for joining tonight. I appreciate very much the super chats and also the support I get from every one of you for our Friday night deal. And let's see, put this down. And if you are watching on the replay, please put a note down and say hi by saying replay crew or something like that. That is much appreciated. If you have a question about something I wasn't able to answer, please feel free to put your question down below in the comment section of this video, and I will be more than happy to respond. I respond to all comments and questions that I receive. And let's see, LRB, yes, he's probably already going right now. I know he was. I signed up for a reminder. And yeah, we'll talk more about that. And if I miss something, we'll try to catch it next time. Yeah, Mayer on the replay. Yeah, he's not here tonight. I haven't seen him, or is he? Yeah, thank you and for joining the memberships. And it's always a pleasure. And there's always so much to talk about. And if you do have a suggested subject, and sometimes people do, please feel free to send it over. And, you know, a suggested subject could be good because it allows me to think, oh, not just what I'm thinking that you might like to hear about or like to talk about or like to delve into deeper, but it's also an opportunity for you to stimulate my mind because of something I didn't even think about that. And it would be maybe opening up a conversation or a subject that I wouldn't have thought of. So I do appreciate very much suggestions, and please leave those down below also, or send an email at if you go to FishEZ.ca, there's a contact page, FishEZ.ca, and you can always contact me by email there. Also, you can even contact me on the YouTube profile page. There's an email address there for contacting me as well. So all in all, thank you very much. I'm going to go have dinner, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you so much. And as always, keep it real.